Hi, it's Anne here, and today's video is my 5th update for my Pan That palette for 2023. Technically, it should be the 6th update, but I did skip a month earlier in this year, so this is the 5th update. How I'm doing this project is I have an eyeshadow palette that I'm working on, and then I have face palettes. I say face palettes that I'm working on because every quarter I'm sort of rotating the face palette out and bringing a new one in. And then like this past month I actually had 2 face palettes because they had different things in them. So let's get started in the update. So let's talk about the eyeshadow palette first. This is the eyeshadow palette. It's actually a custom palette because I didn't want to work on just a straight up palette. I wanted to work on some singles that I knew I could finish up. And I used this palette sort of as like a companion palette to other palettes that I'm working on, or not working on, playing with. So this is what this guy looks like. Do you notice something? Your eyes are not deceiving you. Yay, I finished it. So there is a shadow in here that I did finish. This was from BH Cosmetics Carly Bible Deluxe Edition palette, which was a Pan That palette of mine 2 years ago, I think. And so yeah, that was a shade that was like a pinky brown color, really nice, easy neutral color that I could use as a transition or just crease shade. Lately, because I've been going into the office more, I'm really just doing like a 2, maybe 3 eyeshadow look, but mostly a 2 eyeshadow look where I take like a nice light color like these two, or that one that I finished, throw that in the crease, and then throw like a shimmery shade or like a neutral shade on the lid. I have been going a little bolder sometimes, so this is the shade called Linny. It's not part of my Project Pan. Neither of these two in the middle are part of my Project Pan. I throw in a shade or two just to play with, so I've been playing with these. This one's called, I don't know how well you can see it. It's very, very shimmery. It's called Linny. It's from Cleona. I don't know if it was a custom shade because I know they had a custom thing that I bought last year. I think it was last year or the year before. That was like 5 or 6 shadows for like a charity thing. And that was, I think they were all sort of named after influencers. And then the shade I use sometimes, it's called Darling from Cosmetics, which is another Canadian company. Again, I just sort of threw that one in recently. But yeah, let's talk about the actual panning shadows. So again, kind of working on all of these. I did repress this one, I think last month. I can't remember if you saw that repressed or not. It's definitely going down. I'm using these all quite fairly frequently now. So this white one was 1.27 grams last month. It's 1.25 grams. That's a difference of 0.02 grams. Just realized did not do the math on all of these, so I gotta quickly do that. Next up is this like sparkly pink shade that was from a Color Workshop quad thing that I took apart. Last month it was 1.13 grams. It's now 1.04 grams, so big movement on that guy. I've been using it quite a bit as like a topper type shade. This guy is called, I call it light brown. It doesn't have a name. It was from the NYX Warm Neutrals palette, and it was 1.33 grams. It's now 1.28 grams. That's a difference of 0.05 grams. And then this one I call medium brown. It's still kind of a light brown though. Last month it was 1.02 grams. It's now 0.96, or sorry, it is now 1.2 grams. So that's a difference of 0.03 grams. This guy, which I was calling Pinky Brown from the Carly Bible palette, last month was 1.02 grams. It's now 0.96 grams. So that's where it's finishing at. So I used 0.06 grams, and in total I used 0.2 grams to finish this guy. These two I've added in. I'm not planning on finishing either. Like, I don't really care if I finish either. This one would be nice to finish, but I don't think, to me it's a very summery color, and I don't think I want to use it really fall, like into the fall very far. Like I could see myself using it up to maybe October and then being like, yeah, I don't want to use it anymore. So again, these two were also from the Carly Bible palette, and this one, I'm just calling it sparkly pink orange, and then I'm calling this one orangey brown, just to differentiate it from the other browns because it's more of an orangey brown. I also have another brown that's a bit more, I want to say, just like a warm brown, but not like orangey. It's got a bit more muddiness to it, almost like oliviness to it compared to this. So I felt like that one might be better to bring in later in the fall. And I feel like this is a bit more of a summery color, brighter, like it's a bit of a brighter orange. This one is called Pewter from Pure, so same brand as this one right here. I don't think I use this one at all. And so the weight hasn't changed. It was 3.64 grams, still 3.64 grams. And then this one is called Morocco from NYX. And again, I think I used this once maybe as like liner, so I barely touched it. And again, the weight has not changed on this one. 2.89 grams last month, still 2.89 grams. I've thought about pulling those two out, but I don't know. I might actually pull those out because I was like, I don't think I have any other shades, but I feel like I might have a brown that's still deeper than these browns, but lighter than this brown. Does that make sense? So yeah, I'll see. We'll figure it out. But yeah, I'll throw up the side-by-side photo. Again, I'm filming this a little early, but I feel like last month I maybe filmed it a little early too. So, but I feel like I've had really good progress on this anyway. So I'm excited to actually be filming this because I feel like we're in like a good rhythm with this project. I'm still haven't figured out the other half of it. I just haven't really had a whole lot of time to think about the other half. I think also with pulling stuff out of my collection with my Shop My Stash is sort of like, I don't know, I have makeup sort of everywhere right now. So once I get, I think, everything back in and I sort of reset what I'm doing on that side with like the Shop My Stash, which I'm kind of pulling back on, I'll think I'll have a better idea of what I want to do using my palettes going forward. Especially, I am planning on doing a declutter. I don't know if I will declutter any palettes because that's like one of the hardest things for me to declutter, but we'll see. So face palette. So I was using two face palettes. The first one is this one, which is the Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow. I love this palette. I love it. The more I use it, the more I love it. I hate that it's so stinking expensive. I'm not really a huge fan of Charlotte Tilbury, although I am wearing her, what is it, Pillow Talk lipstick right now, like the matte, like the OG matte lipstick. I like some of the products, but the brand as a whole just weirds me out. I think it's their advertising. But I love this, especially this bronzer. I think, is it Makeup Revolution sells a product that's sort of a dupe for this that would probably be pretty similar. And I was on the Catrice website and they also have a new product that looks very similar. And I think it's really the tone of this bronzer. It's not too orangey. I don't know how well that's going to show up on camera because I feel like it's a super light. So this one I think is in, I don't know if this is in the light medium one. I mean, I'm swatching it on my hand right now and I can't even see the medium. I can't even see it. I can swatch it on my wrist here. It's so light, but it's just enough that like on a day-to-day basis, there it is right there. I think you can see that. It's just very subtle, so it's very, very easy. Like if you are not really comfortable with bronzer, you're new with bronzer, you like the concept of bronzer, but you don't want to look muddy, you just want a bit of warmth and definition around your face, I feel like this is really good. I hate recommending this knowing that the price tag is so high, but like when I look at it, like this product's gonna take forever to finish as well, so sometimes it's worth it to spend a bit of money on something that you know is just the right thing. I forget who it was. It might have been, I don't know who it was that was talking about this, but sometimes you spend all this effort looking for a dupe when you really should just go for the OG because you end up wasting money on trying to find a dupe that just never seems to be quite the same. So yeah, like, I don't know. I might go on a hunt to see if I can find something that's a reasonable dupe for this. I think Makeup Revolution has one, and like I said, Catrice had something that looks really similar. The highlight is okay. I don't like the highlight as much as I like the bronzer. But again, I feel like for me, that's a shade thing. Again, it's a really subtle highlight. You can see it on the back of my hand there. I would have preferred it if it had a touch more pink to it, just because of my skin tone. But it's still pretty good. It's not too yellowy or anything. It's an everyday, I can wear it every day. Like I felt like I said, I've been going to the office a bit more. This works really well for me. This is custom packaging as well. This was like a Christmas release. It's sort of like some people didn't really like it because it's definitely like a sticker. But I think it's because, like, mine sits perfectly on this, but I think some people got it and it's, like, wonky and, like, lifts up and, like, that makes it look cheap. But mine sits perfectly flat, and so it doesn't even seem like it's a sticker at all. Anyway, last month this was 103.6 grams. It's now 103.2 grams. That's a difference of 0.4 grams. And in total, over the last 3 months, I've used 1.25 grams of this product, which I think is really good. This will be rolling out because I will be rolling in 2 new face palettes. Sorry to hear clicking noise. That's my TV. Does anybody else's TV do that? So my TV, like I had it on earlier, and when I shut it off, it like settles, I guess because the heat of the TV, and then as it's cooling down, it like settles, and that's what like clicks, like it's like anybody else's. Anyway, the other palette, this is the ever magical growing palette. This is the Benefit Cheek Leaders palette. It's the mini pink squad. Comes with California, Tickle, and Dandelion. I do enjoy this. I feel like these are very subtle and they're very hard to pick up on a brush. So I feel like I have to really dig in to get into them. And then this guy is definitely showing some hard pan. I don't know how you can see that, but there's hard pan all along the bottom here. And again, in traditional fashion, this has grown again. So last month, this was 98.81 grams. It's now 99.22 grams. I definitely think it's like, particularly Dandelion, I think it's absorbing oils from my face, and like that hard pan, I think it's actually just weighing it down and making it heavier. So, I mean, this is a lesson learned, and sometimes you do weights and it's not helpful. Like I do have that jewelry scale that's from Amazon. It's not going to be great for your 0.00s. So it weighs that small, but it's not always accurate. Like I even notice myself if I like shift it or move it somewhere else on the table, it can change the weights because again, things aren't perfectly level and things like that. So I try and weigh things a few times and then record the number just to make sure I'm getting like a proper number. But yeah, so anyway, I'll put the side by side for that one up. I don't think it's really going to show much. I don't think either of those palettes will show much in the side by side, just because like, yeah, I barely made a dent in them, but I felt like I used that bronzer a lot. So, I mean, again, I think I'm getting my money's worth for this product. And I do like the size of it. It's a very good travel size. Sorry to go back to this. I mean, it's funny how certain products, I like doing these sort of project pans, not just necessarily to finish products, but just to really get more intimate with my products, a bit more like knowledgeable about them, a bit more like I really have a better understanding. There's certain products that I just haven't used a whole lot that I really don't know how I feel about them. Speaking of which, the next two face palettes that I'm bringing in are kind of like that, one more so than the other. The first is the blush palette. So this is a product that I've just barely used, and I feel bad that I've barely used, and so I'm forcing myself to put it in a project. I kind of wavered between a few things, and I was like, no, I have to use this now, because this is the Jouer Cheeky Summer Duo. Like, so it's summertime, I have to use it. So, and I want to. I just never gravitate towards palettes. And this is not even a real palette. I mean, there's only 2 shades in here. I have to be super careful with this, because you can see this fell out. The thing fell out. So I'm super gentle with it, which kind of sucks. I can't really travel with it because it's super delicate, but I do really like these shades. I'm super excited to play with this one. The shade names on this are, so the deeper one's called Terracotta Sands and the lighter one's called Hot Coral. I'll swatch both of them so you can see, but I feel like I've used the Hot Sands one, I think, more. I haven't really used the terracotta one, so I'm really excited to play with that this summer. I think it's going to be a great summer color to play with. Sorry that it's going to rain, I think, soon, so the lighting is sort of in and out, and it was like super sunny there, so it was super bright. But there's those 2 shades there, and you can see that like Sands one has a bit of a sheen to it. I just really like that shade. It's a really, really pretty, sorry, I'm out of focus. There we go. It's just such a pretty shade. So I'm looking forward to playing with this. I think it'll be really, really nice for the summer to play with. I kind of want to try and press that one shade a little bit better because I feel like it's a bit precarious. It's very similar to the Becca. Actually, I got both of those from Beautylish, and they both came a little broken. The Becca highlighter that I have that's from Year of the Pig. So really excited to play with that. But yeah, it's very, very, it's even right now, it's like crumbling out. And then the other palette that I picked is this guy. So you'll see there's no bronzer. So this is a highlighting kit or a highlighting palette. This is the ABH Glow Kit in Sun Dipped. I got this actually from Beautylish too in a lucky bag. It was in my first lucky bag. So I've had this since 2018 and I've barely used it. I admit I barely used it. And it's like the product's still so good. They are really good. They're super pigmented. I just never pull this out. So I didn't pull a bronzer because this one kind of can work as, I think I'll mix this with other bronzers. that I'm using, and I do think I might have 2 bronzers over the summer in my project pan, so I'm not mad about that. I think this will be fine to have just like a blush palette and a highlighting palette, and I'm not going to worry about the bronzer. I was going to pull, I've got that Color Workshop little bronzer palette. I was going to pull that, and I just decided not to, because I was like, it's just going to be too much, too many things. So this is what this guy looks like. There's 4 highlighters in here. Moonstone, Tourmaline, Summer, and Bronzer. And I can see myself definitely using these 2 a lot more. This one's interesting because you think it's going to be too dark, and it's not. It's actually a really nice eyeshadow shade as well. I've actually pulled this out to make sure this is what I wanted to use. I've been playing with it for like a week. And yeah, like I'm definitely pretty happy about this choice. I think though, like this will be... We're not going to see a whole lot of weight change. We're not going to see a whole lot of dips because these are super pigmented. And I just don't see myself working through that much of them. So there's the 4 shades there. This one is called Moonstone. It's like the pinkier one. This one's called Tourmaline. Again, it's actually really pink leaning and not nearly like what you think it is compared to what's in the pan. This one's Summer, so it's the more golden one. I typically mix Summer and Moonstone together because this is a little too yellow for me. And then yeah, the bronzer one I never use as like a highlight, but I have dusted it over other bronzers before. And like I said, I think I might use it as eyeshadow. Same with Tourmaline. Tourmaline works really well as it's like a shimmery but still subtle eyeshadow because it's a very, very neutral tone. I've made an executive decision right now that this is all this project is going to be. So I started off doing this and then talking about palettes that I was picking monthly at the beginning of the year, like for the first few months, and then I kind of stopped doing that. I think we're not going to do that. We're going to take that out of this project, and like I said, my Shop My Stash is going to shift. That might become a bit of an eyeshadow project. Again, not a panning thing, but like a rotating, playing sort of thing. And we're just going to keep this simple. We're just going to keep this, the eyeshadow and the panning face palette. It's just a straight up panning video, just like my regular project pans, a straight up panning video. So anyway, if you like this video, feel free to give a little thumbs up down below. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel in Toronto. I was like, where am I? Who am I? Where am I? Wow, that was a real brain fart. If you would like to subscribe to my channel in Toronto, Canada, I would love it. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye.